All right, well, we're live here, October 23rd, 2019, another Paint and Chat. Welcome, everybody. I hope you're having a good week so far, in the middle of the week, and we're about a week away from Halloween, which is crazy. I've been doing a lot of 40K, and I've been doing a fair bit of War Machine lately on the channel, but I have some dust minis, actually, that some of them need a little painting. Most of what I have is actually all pre-painted, but you know, you can't have a battle report with painted and unpainted minis, obviously. So tonight, I'm going to be painting the Mercenary Railgun crew, and they look super, super awesome. As soon as this feels like focusing, there we go. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be working on tonight. How are you all tonight, and what all are you working on? Inquiring minds want to know. Let me pull up the actual chat here. I always have it in a window behind my behind the webcam, so I always have to lean over. Sorry. Paul Noxie is the moderator for tonight, so thank you, Paul, for being here, and welcome. Patrick, good to see you again. I know you're working on a bunch of stuff, painting techno zombies from Sedition Wars Battle for Alabaster, an old Simon board game. Interesting. Ilurian, hey, welcome back. Joshua Hatch, welcome. Hey, if no hobby is done at 2:30 a.m., then nothing gets paint or assembly. If no hobby is done at 2:30 a.m., there you go. Who else has no idea what their Halloween outfit's going to be? Yeah, I'm actually trying to figure that out too. Hey Miranda, hey Mikey, welcome. Terrain, Holic, hello Bill, hello Sue. Samuel, welcome. And so let me see here. Joshua, it's a random tidbit, but the primer for Dust Mercenaries is 100 matched to the GW Kislev Flesh. Fun fact, you're totally right. I happen to have that right here, and I was just thinking that. It's like, that is uncanny. I sent you a picture of my project. Yes, I saw that one. I'm sublime. How are you, Lurian? As usual, working on my day job, sadly, but thinking of ordering that new Eldar versus Dark Eldar box. Oh goodness, sounds like an expensive one. Nothing at this hour on my part. Welcome, Viper Taha. Helping lead a youth group here. Hi all. Says no regrets. Well, welcome. Appreciate you hanging out. So this is a pre-prime miniature from Dust. Again, this is the Mercenary Railgun team, and I think they have like 3 levels that you can get Dust minis at, and this is just one that they sent me, but this is a primed version, so it's not painted, but it's primed and assembled, obviously, so this is just how it came out of the box. I did clean up a small mold line along her arm here. You can see where it actually created a line, because obviously I'm scraping the primer off there, but I'm not going to worry about it for the purpose of that small amount of exposed miniature. And then I also, on her forearm, fixed the small mold line there as well, as soon as it feels like focusing. And so you can kind of see it there. So I'm basically going to paint her to the box, which I actually brought up a picture for you. Ta-da! Mostly like the box. Their hair is going to be different, because their hair is a little boring to me, so I'm going to, I'm going to do the movie thing where you make them distinct from each other by making one a blonde and one a redhead, or brunette, or blonde, or whatever it is you do. So, but everything else is going to be largely the same. And something that'll be a little bit outside of my habit for this will be the base will actually get painted last, because I want to try and match the crackle effect that they have on all of the pre-painted stuff, because they actually sent me a bunch of pre-painted stuff, because I'm going to be working on a battle report. And so I want to make sure it matches, and so that'll be something I experiment later and not embarrass myself on the internet doing. Let's see here. Mikey was just building a Drakari Kabbalite Warriors. Am I saying that right? Dust is the sci-fi World War II game. That is correct. Dust 1947, Dust Tactics, formerly Dust Warfare, I believe. There was a board game and then also a miniature game, and then the ownership had kind of gone back to the original people, and now it's been reintroduced as a very casual war game, but with sci-fi elements. Like there's a Mythos box set where you can play Cthulhu models, for example. That gun looks very Fallout-ish. Yeah, it's quite a railgun. And the chick on the back here, she's actually got a railgun, not a railgun, a Tommy gun. Come on, you can do it. You know, this thing was focusing so wonderfully before the chat started. There it is. So that's her Tommy gun. So yeah, I mean, a few things. Overall, this should be fairly basic and straightforward to paint, with the exception of the base. Hey, Atomic Topher, how are you doing? Yeah, and so I am using my favorite model holder here. This is one of those oblong bases, but turns out fits it just fine. Is this all is dust? There you go. So I guess we'll just get started. I like to start on the broad swaths of it. I'll paint in the skin color just because it's such a small bit of paint. So I'll start there. So referencing real quick back to the railgun team. Looks like where they have this sort of off black for the boots. I'm probably just gonna do it brown and khaki, but yeah. So how about we start with the big broad color and get their khaki suit started. Oops, and not drop the model. Teehee. Have you got any crackle paint, Miranda? Go for red hair. We call them rengas in Australia, or a ginger ninja. Ah, that's an amazing. I am gonna do one redhead and one blonde. I don't know who's leading on this one. They both look like perfectly terrifying gals to be on the other end of the gun of. All right, so let's see here. I've got my lovely craft paints. We don't have to talk about it. But I have fancy new brushes. I upgraded that. I'm using the Creature Caster brushes that they hooked me up with while I was at Valhalla. So we will be using that on craft paint because, you know, I'll upgrade slowly. It's fine. This is the crocodile paint, which interestingly enough should give me a decent, it looks like a pretty strong color for the khaki, but I'm going to dinge it down with some black wash and then re-highlight it back up with this like kind of chartreusey color. You'll see what I'm doing. So first things first, let's get some basic colors on there. Also, as far as crackle paint, I have the solution that makes anything a crackle paint, so that's basically what I'm going to be trying. So wish me luck on that. I'll post an Instagram of my success or failure on it. So yeah, just starting in here. Now the other weird thing is this came with a, it's like a, I guess, plastic kind of cord. It actually feels a little bit like a fabric-y cord as far as the cable for the railgun. So I'm gonna have to paint around it. So, oh, there we go. And this will be a model that I'm not familiar, like the primer I'm not familiar with. So we'll see how the coverage works on it. But I don't know. I'm overall not too worried. Like my painting skills, I've gotten comfortable enough that I'll just keep working with it until it's good enough, and then it's usually fine. So, please, guys, tell me a little bit about your day and what you've been working on. I know we've got a few miniatures and such being worked on. Jeremy, I saw some of what you were working on earlier. You've been super busy. I feel like you've been constantly painting since, gosh, a few weeks before Valhalla. It was probably earlier than that, but I know you've sent me a lot of images. Don't accidentally drink paint water. Mostly well, the last time I streamed, I accidentally actually put paint in my drinking water, so that was the real error. I've never drank the paint pot, though, or from the paint water, because it's different enough looking, I guess. Any paint is crackle paint if you try hard enough. That's right. Although, yeah, I think it was Hobby Lobby. They had this material that I believe you put it on underneath. I don't know. I don't want to mess it up. I haven't looked at it in a while, and my memory for that sort of stuff is what you would say garbage. And so I could just be completely misremembering it. But it's some product, and it makes it crackle, and I'm going to test it, and we'll just, yeah, we'll see. But I want them to fit in. Now, if it doesn't work perfectly, that's fine. They're mercenaries. They can be a little different. I actually did an unboxing that you guys will be seeing soon on some of the other on the rest of the dust figurines anyway. I think they're really cool looking. Help fulfill a desire I've had for somewhat more historical minis. I mean, I say that with a huge asterisk. Alright, there we go. We're getting that green on. Here I am again. Lost you for a bit. Uh-oh. What's up with the notches around the edge of the base? Are those game relevant? As far as I know, they're not game relevant. It's just the style of base. It's a distinctly dust base. It's probably even a patented one, would be my guess. How goes your warrior after your burst of rested XP last week? Are you into the nifty 50s? I am near 50. I'm 49. I'm level 49. I slowed down a lot. I sort of binged a little bit after I got back from Valhalla, but I had actual work to do, and so I didn't play that much. And so for my World of Warcraft character, I've gone through a couple of runs of Maradon, which is a little bit of a challenge because there's a best in slot ring for basically every single melee class that everybody is trying to get. And the drop rate is absolutely abysmal. So talk to some people or that you run with in the dungeon, and they're like, yeah, I'm on my 11th run with no drop. I'm like, ooh, sorry, dude. So I've actually kind of chilled out a little bit because honestly I find the dungeons pretty fun, and so I don't want to burn out on them. And so to my mind, I'm like, well, I'll get in, maybe tank a dungeon or do DPS or whatever and go through the end of my rest bonus, and then that's fine. There's no, the end game for WoW isn't going anywhere, so I can take my time and enjoy it. Although I'm a little nervous. Sunken Temple's pretty soon, and I'm not exactly excited about that one. Maybe it's fine. It's just the way I remember it wasn't. It just seemed convoluted. And yes, I agree, Paul. It is weird that the cord is an actual cord. On the bright side, it's easy enough to move out of the way for the purpose of getting to the mini. So, and I guess I feel a little obligated to plug it because Jason did give me these brushes with Creature Caster, so I'm using the Monument Bombwick brush. This is one of those sable-haired ones. I don't know. You folks familiar with Brushland probably know more about it, but yeah, the sable hair ones. It's been good. It's been holding up so far. Although I've only painted on stream so far with it, so you guys will get to see the wear and tear as it happens, and or my mistreatment of it. Teehee. Ooh. Let's see here. I've slowed down since Valhalla, but I do want to get a bunch of stuff done for skirmish games. Fair enough. I've been reorganizing my hobby room today, making it more user-friendly. It's always helpful, Brian. We actually had to clean the stream room today. It had gotten super cluttered and packed, and that's not actually conducive to getting work done, so that took some time. And Mikey supported that too. DJ Todd, hello. Greetings all, first time catching live stream, taking a break from painting my Zombicide Invader minis. Just finished Core and Black Ops minis. Nice. Shivand, Miranda, Alexis, and Aaron are all doing a stream at the same time. I'm running all 3 streams at the same time, and we'll try to troll all 3 of you. Well, thank you. Wednesday night's a popular night for streaming, I guess. Just watched the end of my local GW's Warcry campaign tonight. They had medals and everything. Oh yeah, they're gonna super pile on the prize support with Warcry being the new one. Let's see, Siobhan. Okay, I think I'm mostly caught up. I see you're using craft paints. What's the secret to using it on minis to get it smooth covering on the minis with that type of paint? I don't seem to get the same issue that other people complain about with craft paint, so I don't know that I could speak too much to it. I live in a super dry climate, and this seems to hold up just fine. Now, as a general rule, I blackwash like a majority of my models, And I am not using any of the craft paints for the skin tones because I think too much of the pigment shows up for that. So as far as this goes, I mean, you can see it, like it's not, come on, I just have to yell at my camera here. Like that seems pretty smooth to me, like that's going on just fine, and that's literally out of the paint lid. So I don't know. But you know, when you black wash anything, it kind of hides whatever imperfections under a smooth, semi-wet sort of surface. So I mean, that's kind of all I do. So I recognize if everybody has sort of different results from craft paints. I don't know why mine would be particularly different, but it does remind me a little bit of when I would work with resin, and we did a Kickstarter a few years ago where we made a bunch of resin clockwork towers, and whoo, boy, was that a project. And for whatever reason, the resin treated us different than every single other person on earth we talked to. So I don't know, stuff's weird. Joshua, I've resisted Warcry so far, but I still want a demo. So it's fun watching the demos. I just don't know that I can get quite into Warcry because I don't really want a new investment in models. Like, you know, I'm kind of getting into Dust here, and I'm, again, super enjoying Warhammer Underworlds. Got the Beastgrave expansion recently, and it's like that's just right for me. Like I like that level of it because you have the war bands and there's a lot of variety there, but you don't have to go crazy with so many war bands, and so many of the AOS minis, especially the ones I like because I like the Night Haunt, seem like a friggin' nightmare to transport or assemble or paint. So I'm totally intimidated out of it. As long as you don't leave the brush tip down in your water cup. I could murder my housemate for doing that. No, I've managed to stay like at least that aware. So I didn't like it very much either. Yeah, I guess people have had kind of weird results on the Bye Mikey, thanks for hanging out. I think people have had mixed results or mixed feelings on the Warcry stuff, but overall it seems to be gaining traction. Paul, I know that you said it's kind of taken over your game store of late. Oh, the other thing I'd mention for whoever asked about the craft paints is that you generally want to do more than one layer on it, which is a big difference between that and a lot of the fancier high quality paints where you can kind of get away with one layer. I have a Vallejo for the skin tone, so I can probably show you an example on that in a little bit here. So we're just going to get the coverage in here where we can. It's funny, she's so much smaller than the last model I was painting because I was working on the Kadoran Grey, not the Grey Lord, I was working on Dragovich, who is a Man of War Demo Corps officer dude. And he is a chunky model. And these ladies are not. So just makes me laugh because paint coverage is so different. And your brush strokes, the way they show up, are also super different. Alright. I am rather pleased with how this green is going on, though. I think it's the right color. And the other trick is keeping your hair from tangling into your brush. Ta-da! I posit that craft paint is good for large areas, but for details, go for proper model paint. Yeah, that's probably fine. I know most people reserve model craft paint for terrain, which is a completely appropriate usage of it. I just, I'm just not that picky. So at the end of the day, it does get model, paint on the model. And I don't know that so many people are hyper judging my models. I paint for the purpose of play. So if I got too terribly attached to how perfectly a model was painted, I'd have to be more careful with them. That's unlikely to happen. especially for a girl who likes her metal tape measures. There we go. So we're getting there. And you know, it's always just the time it takes to get into the little details and holding the model upside down and making sure that you've got it in all the crevices and the underside of the arm, all that sort of thing. But she looks like she's wearing a green jumpsuit. I think we've established that one so far. Did you make that figure holder? It looks efficient. No. This is actually a proper Citadel holder. I want to say I paid like $8 for it. I think it was like the same price as the actual paint pot. This has been wonderful. And they have a few different sizes of it, but I've been super happy with it because on days where I'll like drink coffee because I'm terrible at getting enough sleep or whatever, like my hands don't hold the model super well or super great, or your hands get sweaty, like the model holder's been really good, especially since I've had model casualties. And ever since then, I've been like more religious about the model holder. Oh dear, I have a few comments to catch up on. Let me go here. The Beast Grave expansion looks awesome. Yes, it does. Wow, my 9-year-old daughter just convinced me to get her into Dust. She loves the models. Eric, that's awesome. You know, and this is one of the things I'm super curious about whenever I do the battle report for it, because the Dust, I'm assuming you have maybe the starter box for it, which actually comes with a mat. That grid pattern, I think I'm gonna love, but we'll see. But I think I'm gonna love it because it reminds me of if anybody here has played Undercity, the Privateer Press game, where you can just move models into sort of grid sections and then just have rules based on that. It seems ideal. So I don't know. I'm super curious. So hang out. Make sure she sees my battle report when it goes out. Technically, I did go crazy with my Shadespire minis. You've seen the pic of the guy with the Tyranid arm. Yes, Paul, that's true. I kind of did the same just by buying way too many of the factions. Have you built any of the Beast Grave minis yet? No, that's actually going to be one of the tonight after the stream projects. I've used craft paints and never had a problem with them, mostly Americana. There you go, Brian. Let's see. Any thought about getting into Infinity, or does the mass amount of rules to remember make you take a step back? Also, thanks for getting me into Aristea. So, Lee, I super enjoyed Aristea. That's about the level that I'm interested in playing with a lot of those models. The more I play the different types of war games, the more I really have an affinity to only one or two particularly complex ones, and then the rest can be like, you know, casual skirmish games or board games. Shadespire is an interesting hybrid between a board game and a miniature game, and so that is kind of a level of gameplay I've been enjoying. So as far as Infinity goes, and I feel bad saying this, but it just hasn't really like sparked with me. It just has not really captured my attention enough to want to dig into the rules. And there's a huge Infinity meta here in Albuquerque. We have one of the biggest or the biggest like tournaments every year, and you know, Carlos has come out before, and the meta here is super nice. Like, these are amazing, really cool people to hang out with. And so I feel bad because I'm like, man, I want to hang out with you guys, but I don't really want to play this game. So I don't know. I want to put it on the channel, but I would need their help. So I'm trying to figure that out a little bit. And who knows? Maybe they can still convince me. I'm certainly open-minded to it, but so far it's been Aristea. Their minis have always been really cool looking, but they push more into the anime style, which I don't really care about. So yeah. Joshua, Eric, Brown, Dust does seem to have a great following for new and younger games. The grid-based movement and the measuring is easy. The models are robust. The rules are easy and good for new players. There you go. So I will learn all of that soon enough, Joshua. I read that as Shakespeare mini with an arm. Oh gosh. All right. Going to have an intro level or basic Infinity version, so I'd be curious to see how that works and how simplified actually it is. Yeah, I'm curious too. Speaking of which, I accidentally spilled 6 ounces of Mod Podge mixed with black paint yesterday. Good job, Patrick. We all have those days. You make the effort to paint them. The type of paint or perceived quality shouldn't matter to anyone as long as you're happy with them. It's better than bare plastic. That's right, Ilarian. And that's the thing, like if you have super dirt cheap paints, honestly it's a great place to start, because then you have all the variety and all colors that you want to deal with. If you want to, you know, there's rules for me about going crazy with colors, but you just have the option. So it works for me, and honestly I don't see complaints about it. I also don't look for them, but you know, whatever. The green jumpsuit reminds me of Ripley in the first Aliens. Yeah, I could totally see Ripley in that pose, right? Some great Merc models piloting some big walkers. They're very much in that Aliens theme. I don't like anime style, Siobhan. It's true. Most anime sucks. He's all unsubscribe. Whatever. I'm interested in Intro Infinity. So, alright. So obviously there's some Infinity players in here. So tell me, how did your first, like, how were you introduced to Infinity? Because I don't know that the demo games, I mean, obviously it worked fine here because we have a huge meta, but, and maybe Guillermo was doing something special, but what were your thoughts on the first time playing Infinity and what got you into it? Because I think people, you know, obviously people play for a little bit different reasons. And I don't know how I feel about the it's always your turn rule. Because sometimes you want to go get a soda or go to the bathroom and come back and be like, oh, you haven't been able to go yet because I'm here. Because I'm not here. So I don't know. Let me know. It's like, it's such a game I want to like, but it's just not, it's so not my style. Alright, this is just me getting a little bit of a second layer on a few of the spots, because not the coverage on everything wasn't, you know, perfect, because let's be real, this is a 50-cent pot of paint. So we just, you know, take some time and throw a little extra on there. Solid basics. There you go. You can produce a really nice tabletop quality miniatures with whatever materials you use. Fell into a habit of painting my minis closer to display standards as opposed to tabletop standards, which contributed to my mini piles of shame. Oh, the shame. Well, at least you know that you're happy with everything you get done. And so, don't let the shame get to you. Just do what you can. I long gave up on that. I feel really bad showing you my unpainted pile of stuff, guys. Especially after I've like bought a few armies off people, or you know, there's models that are quasi painted and never finished, and it's like a whole mess of stuff. Alright, let's get jumpsuit 2 underway and get her going. But so far, I'm really quite pleased with this jumpsuit. Wasn't totally sure on the color. I thought it might end up being a bit dark. So this primer, being of course on the lighter side, probably helped ease my concern with that. So yay. I am pleased with that. Why would you say something so controversial and yet so brave? I hope you're referring to my anime comment. I also bought that new GW Dreadnought mech thing. I call it the Power Loader. Yeah, I'm super... Like, I know you said, we're excited to work on that one. You said it was a complex model, right, Paul? Alright. There we go. See, and, you know, the dust style, it's not even quite not anime in a way, right? Like, in this sort of idealizing of different models of the different people. But this is a style that more appeals to me, like more that bomber girl. Obviously that is something that appeals to me, and like these tough chicks with big guns. I'm like, yeah, this is cool. So I'm happy I'll have gotten to paint one. I want to paint, but I just can't seem to start. Maybe because mine always suck. Well, it will continue to be that way until you've gotten some practice under your belt, man. I don't know what to tell you. So I started as a super garbage painter, like garbage, like just, ugh. It was bad. One of the things that I did as a way to, what is it? Like, you give yourself rules, right? So in order to improve your skill at this, you'll only work within these specific parameters. So for me, it was color limiting, because I get choice paralysis, I guess, really, really bad. Or I'll get too happy with like different colors to put on a model, and that's where it tends to go bad. Because painting within the line, barring, you know, if you have just, you know, trouble with shaky hands, or, you know, just something you can't help, is going to just be practice. And so you just gotta do it. But dealing with colors on a mini, especially understanding how the scale affects what details really show up, is something that you kind of ease into. So, you know, limit your colors. Again, for me, oh, that's a big old glob of paint. For me, like brown is always, or leather is always brown, metal is always silver. Like, I just sort of had these simple rules of using just these basic colors for things that are generally accepted as a specific color. Leather, metal, they tend to be silver and brown, and that's that. So you just stick with those colors, and you can make variations as you go forward, but you'll find that your minis stop looking bad, and then you can start improving on it from there. That was literally how I developed it. Everybody has their own way, but if it helps at all, that is what I did. I'll look at the chat in a second. I'm just excited to get her fully covered here. Doo-doo. All right. And there's like a lot of details on these jumpsuits too, which I fully expect my black wash to take care of. Certain amount of trust you learn in developing the mini too. I've been watching someone else who paints my minis, Thomas, as he's been working on his orcs. And you've seen him on some of the live chats. And he's been super excited to get into all these rust effects. And man, rust effects are intimidating. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, the amount of work that goes into rust, the amount of layering, just to make something look beat to hell. Blows my mind. So, what are we working on today? I'm working on the Railgun Mercenary Unit 4 Dust 1947. I'm gonna have to just pick through these. Honestly, the biggest thing was the group. I wanted to send a shout out to the Infinity group in Las Vegas, but the backstory and the update to the story and the characters changing every season. Oh, for like the Infinity stuff, yeah. Can't get into Infinity or Malifaux for that matter. I like A Song of Ice and Fire though. Hey, that's good. I have it, and I gave it to Flo to paint all the minis and to keep because she's doing all that work. But I'm looking forward to actually playing the game and seeing how that works, because apparently a lot of people have been pretty happy with that. Miranda, what was your favorite thing at Valhalla this year? so many good things at Valhalla. Was there anything new? Let's see. So we did werewolf again. I really like, I mean, sounds goofy, but I really like that we had Creature Caster there this year because it added to the event in that there was an actual like hobby section, a corner where people could just go and paint their minis and hang out with the folks of Creature Caster who were there painting minis. So I felt like that added a nice bit of like relaxation to the event. So I think that's off the top of my head my favorite thing. It was so calm this year and so lovely. I really am just so incredibly pleased with it. So there are a lot of wonderful things. You know, Dave came on, he visited via stream and did some giveaways for people, and you know, we had Doug from Table War and he did some giveaways for people. So people did really well. This is the first year I got to do shirts. Thought that was really cool, and that was a lot of fun to get the design in for. But yeah, the hobby area where you could just sit, chill, and paint was actually, it contributed more to the environment that I want of this casual gaming retreat where everybody's chilling out, doing exactly what they want, playing exactly how much they want, you know, relaxed, casual games, including painting. So I think that was my favorite. Alright. Get into the corner and hopefully not totally jack up this brush doing it. Alright. It's so pointy. The brush tastes so good. We all start somewhat unskilled. Yeah, Samuel's totally right as far as starting painting. I mean, again, you can kind of come from anywhere and always get better. For anyone learning to paint, I found sticking with it for 10 to 15 years really helped. It's all fun and learning. How cool was it to be given a paint clinic like Jason from Creature Caster? It was really impressive. It's probably more so than I could even appreciate, because after the stream, a lot of people were like, wow, well, that's really cool. Like, he's really good. You know, that was a big deal that, you know, you got a one-on-one lesson. And to me, it's like, he's really great. But I felt like if I were at a higher level of painting, I probably would have gotten more out of it, just because he's this amazing painter, right? So you can ask like the questions. And so I felt like I probably asked really basic questions. But he's a super nice guy, and I feel like I might be able to just bug him if I have more questions. So it was really awesome. He was a great teacher and great company to have at the event. Him and Jen both, honestly. So I definitely hope to see them next year. Get that green on there, but try not to cover where I'm gonna have her light shirt. There we go. This is the part where you have to be careful. Paint in the lines. Okay, more or less there. A few little bits. Keeping the brush a little bit more wet when you put on some of the paint can help for smoothing out coverage as well. So probably doesn't apply as much on those fancy paints, but here we are. Okay, and get coverage up there. Make sure her booty's all covered. And I think we're just about ready to move on to the next color. Man, this mini's coming along fast. We're only 40 minutes in. I'm not fast. Oh well, whatever. Let's see. Let's take another quick look for reference at this railgun. Okay, those boots come up pretty high. I think that's reasonable. Have you seen Black Sails yet? I have not. If you're asking me about TV, I'm super far behind on every single TV show. All of them. I just go see movies, because movies I can make time for. TV shows, so much harder. It was weird to see Kodak's Dan. It made me realize he hasn't made content in a year. Makes me miss him like I miss Joey Berry. Yeah, I agree. I'd love to see Joey again. Let's see here. Oh, hey Robert, welcome to the stream. Appreciate you joining. Just popping in to say howdy. Worked on my last cans. Then after 5 a.m. years, try to finish my Slayers. All right then. Landon, oh hey Landon, how are you doing? Just saying, hey, when did you start playing Dust 1947? I'm actually getting ready to start playing Dust 1947, so this is the beginning. This is the beginning of that. Due to very nice tutorials, I've seen very good first painted minis from people these days. It used to be the worst. Starting minis weren't even the same shape once people had painted them. Oh, the Elmer's glue look. I may have to pull out my Dust minis and finish them. More shame. Calvin, welcome to the stream. Thanks for hanging out. Came in late. Is this model pre-primed or did you prime it? This is a pre-primed model, so just came out of the box this way. I cleaned up 2 mold lines, and now I'm just getting the base coats on. Have you tried Frostgrave? No. Although Jeremy was doing a wonderful job of running a campaign at Valhalla, which a lot of people were excited about. I just didn't get a chance to. So maybe in the future. Adam, lifelong nerd, but all I know about Warhammer is something about an emperor that used to make bad video games, but have got better. Oh, and I have the pirate Warhammer game still on my sprues in the closet. It's a start. Wait, are you implying I wasn't great company this year? Of course not. Has nothing. Your company has nothing to do with anime being terrible. Kitty's been loving Frostgrave because she can mix her Grimkin and her Zarbag's Gits. Yeah, I can see that. From what I've seen so far with your minis, I may experiment using the craft paints on my dark side minis, especially with the aliens. Yeah, I mean, worst comes to worst, you strip it and start over. And if you're like me, worst comes to worst, you go, oh well, and move on. Because as someone in the chat keeps mentioning, there's plenty of other minis to be working on. So, now that said, I don't think you should just not have a standard. But I think my own view on it is just like, well, I'm trying. Unless I feel like I really was not giving it some reasonable effort, just not my way, then I'm generally going to be pretty accepting about the end result. Pretty sanguine, if you will. Okay, I think it might be time to, let's see, do we want to do skin tone yet? Let me get the browns on. Some of Joey Berry's painting tutorials are hilarious. She's always hilarious. You just turn the camera on her and she's just like life. Just super wonderful personality coming out. Some of us have to practice and try to think of witty things on the fly, and it's really hard. So, always a bit jealous of the girl on that, but she's a super cool girl. I prefer TV shows to movies, but that's because it's annoying to bring a 10-month-old to a theater. That's your fault, Kitty, not mine. That is not a problem I have. So yeah, going out and leaving the house is actually, I have mixed feelings on, but overall, it's probably good that I do so. You ever have it where just like leaving the house, only leaving the house just to go to work and come back makes you feel really like weird about the outside world, and like you don't understand what's going on out there? I hate that feeling, so I do make myself go out every so often. And then I usually I'm in a hurry to come back home. But either way, it's nice. So the theater is like the one thing I do frequently. We saw Maleficent 2 yesterday. And then I think we're gonna go see The Lighthouse on Sunday. And then Zombieland 2 next week. So a lot of movies on the in the pipeline to come to see. There's a bunch coming out, so I'm kind of curious. I want to see like that Knives Out movie. Gosh, there's so many. What are the other ones? Can't even remember. Although, gosh, the previews before Maleficent for all of those animated films. Oh my gosh, they were making my head hurt. Anyone in chat tried Ethereum? I'm painting those models right now. Yeah, you've been really excited about them. I think that's the game that you helped them on, right? The Kickstarter? I'm thinking of the right one, right? As for the going to the theater comment, it's mostly my fault. It's fair. Terminator tomorrow. Oh, that's right, that's out. I don't know how I feel about that. I really liked the first 2 movies, but this doesn't look interesting. I've also become super, like, I've had to kind of temper it, but so many movies are so predictable, like the same 5 people are writing all of them or something. Careful with that water, Miranda. It's awfully close to your water cup. It's okay. There's tall cup and short cup. That's a pretty easy distinction for me. So why my teacup is like the farthest away. Miranda, working those craft paints to death. That's right. You know, I'm gonna get my whole 50 cents worth out of these paint pots, man. You know it. And we're just gonna finish the base coats of the browns, and then we can start on the skin tones and go from there. Bloop. The brown definitely needs multiple layers. We're gonna get that on our gloves too. If you think only going out to work is weird, I work from home. Try to stay in touch with the human race though, but this stream is a nice way to socialize. Well, there you go. The internet is a weird mixed bag, isn't it? In a way, you get to socialize with people you have far more in common with, because generally where you geographically are doesn't mean anything as far as being able to get along with the people you're around. But at the same time, there's something to be said for being physically around people. I think that's why we've been in this board game revolution, from a psychological standpoint, I guess. Considering we've been playing video games and digital games and such for so long that even people who all live together are doing that. And so board games are like this weird way where you still are playing a game, and so it's a thing you're comfortable doing, but you're also getting to socialize in real organic human interaction, you know? So, I don't know, it's a theory anyway. I want to see Terminator so bad. Okay, well, you kitty, you just let me know what you think of it. Trying to be more efficient with my painting. I've still got Nemesis Chronicle X minis to start. Wait. No, but I do demo for them sometimes. Miranda, I'm nearly done with my Imperial Fists, and I'm already looking forward to my next venture, Grimkin. Grimkin models are so wonderful. I have to say that I was a bystander on it, because my friend Flo painted, gosh, almost all of my Grimkin. I did paint my Murder Crows. I did do that. But yeah, Grimkin are fun. I thought they were super fun. I actually got to play them at Valhalla, and I had so much fun with them. Like, in Mark III, apparently they do just, I had fun with them, and they do just fine. I don't know on the whole competitive side, because I've been out of that for a while, but yeah, good times. I still need to pick up the Dreamer model. I know that's a super popular one for painting competitions. Because she's this like floating lady. And, you know, there's the wisps of fabric, and she's got, you know, her dreams materialized around her. It's really cool. I mean, if you're into that sort of thing. Yeah, the brown needs a few layers, but it gets blackwashed too, and then it ends up all sort of looking the same. There you go. Brown and green. They're looking like little army ladies. Dust as a game. Who's playing it in the USA? I mean, I guess a lot of people. They had a presence at Adepticon. I know they were doing demos and people were playing them and they were selling models, so. I don't know how much of a local meta there is. I know there are a few people who play locally, but they don't necessarily get down to the game store. Miranda, you have some wacky acrylic brand paints. Yes, I do. Hey, Miranda. Alfonso, welcome. No class today. Hey. I hope that's for good reasons. Seeing Terminator is more of a nostalgic thing for me. My dad and I used to watch them together. I don't know that my dad would be... Like, so my dad comes with me to the movies. You know, they're like, here's the thing going on in the world, Dad. Come check it out. And I feel bad because there's been a really bad rash of movies. Because he doesn't really like a lot of violence. So, of course, I take him to, like, Rambo Last Blood. I'm, like, leaning over in the theater. I'm so sorry. We're not leaving, but I'm so sorry. So, yeah, there you go. I tried the dream where I failed hardcore. Aw, I bet you could get back to it. I mean, she's probably still sitting there, right? Okay. Now, this chick here has got some straps that she's holding that gun up with. So we're going to paint in the brown for that. And it comes around under her arm here. The model holder has also been fairly useful to, for me, as far as getting kind of a good brace, you know, where you kind of have your hand braced against itself for steadiness. The model holder's been good for that. And you end up getting this weird pose where you look rictus, but holds the paintbrush still. And another strap. There we go. See if I can do that in a way that's useful. Yeah, you probably can't see it necessarily. There we go. Try to angle it where I can kind of do as smooth a stroke as possible, just to reduce the shakiness. All right, and then this Tommy gun in the back, well, I think that butt is gonna be wood, and fill in the rest as well. Metal exoskeleton. Oh yeah. The Terminator movies are great. I did remember watching them as a kid. Because there were some really amazing movies. Alien, too young to watch, watched it anyway. Terminator, much more of an action movie, not scary the way Alien was. And then, I don't know, would Ghostbusters be kind of the other big action-y kind of movie? I mean, obviously it's more humorous, but I'm trying to think of the other big action movies of the time. No, paint. The weirdest thing I did with the movies is taking my mom to see Pacific Rim and my grandma 7 weeks later. The zombie movie. Nice. Yeah, there's been many awkward movies. because I'll just go see anything. And I'm really, like, if I decide I'm going to see a movie, I don't want to see the previews. And so, you know, I like being surprised when I get there, because usually movies don't surprise me. And, yeah, there have been awkward moments. I loved Pacific Rim. I liked Pacific Rim 1. I don't know, I don't feel like they really kind of had it for 2. I understand there will be no crystal brush competition at Adepticon. Robert, you are absolutely correct. Now, I don't know if they're going to be doing something else. I suspect they'll still have a painting competition, but you're right. Crystal brush will no longer be a competition at Adepticon. I mean, that was a cool mini or not specific thing. I think so. I'm sure they have their reasons. And I assume they're pulling out of any of the venues. Like Crystal Brush just maybe at all is being dissolved. I don't think they're just doing it for Adepticon. So, alright, the brown there. And yeah, the brown for this particular, what is this, apple barrel brown? Nutmeg brown is the call for it. Looks great under a black wash, but I wouldn't use it unless I'm going to lay a black wash over it, because its coverage is very inconsistent. I mean, you can kind of see here the almost. Oh, come on, camera. Do it. Wake up. Freaking thing. Anyway, you can sort of see when it gets around to it the buttstock here is a little on the inconsistent side. Wow, it just isn't having it. I really need to get one of those cameras that has an actual ring so I can change the focus, because this auto stuff never seems to work in my favor. So yeah, a few layers of the nutmeg brown and you're okay, but that's kind of one of the trade-offs with the craft paint is it is going to cost you more of your own time to make it look right. Alright, we're going to clean this up here around our ankle, because I didn't quite get the back of the ankles very well. And like that actually should be coming up higher, because this boot is up higher. So these boots actually have more brown than I painted in. Repoint the brush. What's Simon doing about Crystal Brush? Not doing the competition at all, I suspect. It was Jen who ran that, so I know it was a really stressful thing for her, so she probably wasn't getting enough help with it, would be my guess. Running stuff is not easy, and when you're dealing with artists, I imagine that has got to be an insanely stressful job, trying to run a fair competition, making sure everybody feels like they had, you know, a fair chance. Because, yeah, there was some major prizes. I could see a lot of feelings getting hurt pretty easy over that stuff. There you go. That's better. I just need to get up a little higher on the ankles here. I wasn't super clean on my coverage for that. So sorry, you're gonna see my hand in a second because I'm just bracing it against the table. There we go. Army ladies. Good morning, Swede Dr. Plastic. Welcome, sir. I assume, sir. I don't know. The flow improver is meant to uniformly smooth out surface tension with the paint, so a more uniform spread of the pigment. Okay. Oh, you're doing fancy stuff with paint, I assume, for airbrush? You have a pot of Agrax Earthshade. I could add shading. You want and also enhance the World War II grimy look. That's true. Do have Agrax Earthshade. I also really love my Nuln Oil. I use both. We'll see. We'll see when I get there. How do you mix your paints? Shake or stir? And it's mixed. That is how I do. Dudes, I'm painting like muscle masses with ripped skin and robotics. Never painted anything so gruesome. The closest thing might have been some Malifaux models, maybe. Malifaux models definitely could get there. Alright, so... brown... oh, right, I haven't gotten her gloves yet. On the bright side, there's so few colors that you actually need to get on this model. It's been rather pleasant to paint. I suppose I would also suggest that for someone doing something, trying to get into painting, would be to start with something a little bit simpler color-wise. I mean, you can always make something pretty simple and just rely on the model details and expand as you feel comfortable, but this has been fun. It really does feel like I'm just painting a basic army troop, which I guess in a way I am. The real, I wouldn't say challenge, but the thing I'm focusing on is just making sure I'm getting the base coat on everything and covering all the primer. So, gloves, the gun, the boots have enough, retouch the gloves. Again, that is a coverage issue with this paint, but here we are. There we go. All right. You just want to make sure that you're getting everything you can covered here. And then I think we can get on to skin tone, because that's basically the next thing, unless I want to touch up some of the green. I like how you're keeping your brush point by pulling and spinning it. It's also fun. That's how I guess that's how I try to do it anyway. I don't know how effective. I assume it's reasonably effective. Matte medium is just like the liquid plastic which the pigment sits on, so I don't know how glaze medium differs. Yeah, when it comes to all the paint mixing, like I have my little cheap like dollar store tray of mixing paints, but I only do that for like really small little things, although Jason did give me a fine tutorial on mixing some colors for the purpose of highlights. I might try that. These little chicas here don't really have like a whole lot of muscle I need to worry about highlighting. If I was to highlight anything, it would just be, I guess, really just their chest, to be fair. So maybe we'll see. They ran out of Agrax Earthshade at my LHS, so I just resorted to Nuln Oil. Nuln Oil's great. What do you guys have against Nuln Oil? It's I mean, for lack of a better term, it's freaking liquid talent right there. I'm gonna touch up a little bit of the green. I just don't want to have to go back. All right. So right here on the little ankle business here, I was a little sloppy in my coverage, so just gonna smooth that line out. Same as back here, smooth that line out. Now, the wash will do a lot to hide this. I'm probably overkilling it by getting my greens up in here, but dang it all. I want them to look nice. The pre-painted minis look really freaking good, so, you know, I'm not gonna slouch on this here. Alright, now I do have to line in her jumpsuit a little closer to her chesty chest there. How do you tell a hobbyist at a bar? They always like their martinis shaken, not stirred. Lame joke is lame. Wish I could give you something for that, Alarian. Lame jokes are amazing. I feel like that joke needs some other bit to it, but it's pretty good. Alright. It's funny how much depth a little piece of clothing will have. And you've got to get the line just right on it to make it look like it's touching the skin or up against the skin, you know? So that actually seems right. And I've gotten a little more sloppy on it than I wanted, but Works and Nurgle minis are good starter minis, as you can be dirty with your painting and get away with it. Yeah, I'd say it's probably true. But, I mean, Nurgle is kind of where a lot of masters end up, too. So, let's take a look here. Ta-da! We've got basic coats. Gosh, the gun detail on that thing's crazy, isn't it? And on this side as well, got her covered. Then we gotta get their hair color on. Let's take some consideration. Oh yeah, Patrick, thank you. Definitely feel free to post your progress on the Wargamergirl mini Facebook page, because I love seeing your work. It's nice and it's encouraging. All right, so this is an actual Vallejo paint. And this one is basic skin tone. And I'm using that because when it comes to, the skin tone, unless you're going for a very specific look, you probably don't want the grain of the pigment to show up. So just, so you go for something that has a finer ground pigment. And in this case, it comes out of a dropper. So we are actually going to use our little palette here. Whoops. So, you didn't see that. So I've got the color in there, and we're just going to start poking in some color. Milne oil is the basics of all minis ever. It's amazing. Earthshade is much more versatile than Milne oil, but I do use both. Probably, maybe, I don't know. A lot of things that people use Agrax Earthshade for, I still would use Milne oil, but that's just me. Alright, that brush is way too wet. I'm gonna have to layer this one up. That paint is going on like 1% milk. That's not making me happy. Someone's looking up in the face. What's going on? Why is this so watery? Maybe I didn't mix it enough. Contrast paints on Tyranids work like magic. Yeah, I mean, I've been hearing good things about the contrast paints. I'm sure they're Legit. You need to log into your WoW so you can meet my adorable mage. She can join your guild. Yes! But I'll have to log in like an hour. Actually, it'll probably be a little bit later. Find Newt on Fairbanks. I like using Army Painter's range of washes and paints. Yeah, I mean, and everybody kind of finds their paints, right? There's the great times X grandmothers of the Sisters of Battle. Alright, so wipe off that dropper for starters. Alright, that came out of the little dropper different. Let's hope that this actually has some color. Yeah, that's already looking better. Let's take a look here. There we go. It's a little bit better. This is definitely super pale, so we're probably gonna try and layer up that color a little bit more because it looks like a ghost or a zombie or something. For the moment, I thought you were clapping your hands after you said that contrast was amazing. Funny, I had the same problem with my flesh tone from Valhalla. Today makes me sad. I'm worried a bunch of my paints are going bad. Ugh. Yeah, I don't have any idea how long paints are supposed to last, because of course I use them well beyond. I mean, I have paints here that are as old as my channel. So, and some might be older. I don't know. Jeez. Well, this is a very Eastern European look, that's for sure. It's crazy how much more pink this is. There we go. Get some actual color on. You can just move the brush around a bit too and make sure you're pushing, like almost pushing the color around, which is kind of funny to think about, but that's how you do it. So you made a mage, huh, Andrew? Okay, that's fine. Good old mages. The one class that will never buff you or decurse. Alright, I'm just gonna paint her a few times here. All the colors where I want it. Huh, I'm gonna have to really revisit this skin tone one. I'm not sure. Not sure I like how light that is. But anyway, yeah, the big thing for me is just making sure that whatever color you get goes on smooth. Unless again you're looking for grain on the face. Sort of getting there. They're very pale. I'm gonna get their arms. And I don't know, maybe my eyes just acclimated to the primer. So I'm used to them looking more tan. Let's get the rest of their arms painted and maybe things will start feeling normal. There we go. We're getting there. We'll figure it out. spot on her brown gloves. I have to revisit that too. Alright, well they're getting there. See what you want about paints going bad. I have some P3 paints that are as old as Wargamergirl's channel. I have the same set of Vallejo paints now for 8 years and they're still good. Like Miranda did, just shake really well. Some of their pale tones do have poor coverage. Fair enough. Laurel Partha paints I bought 19 years ago. They still work. Oh wow. If you're someone that cleans brushes with their mouth, I can confirm contrast tastes by far the worst. Ugh. No, I could never get on board with that. Jeremy, I saw you doing that a bunch at Valhalla. I'm like, I can't. One, I'll never share brushes, but additionally. Let's see here. Why does everyone say the Lead Belcher Hashnut Copper from GW are so awful metallic paints? I was brushing them on today and they worked reasonably well. Rocky, Rambo, and Predator were all big movies. Oh yeah, I forget about Predator. You know, I didn't see Predator until much later. I actually didn't see Rocky until much later either, and I fell completely in love with those movies. Oh my gosh. Oh, the triumph of the human spirit is just such a sucker for it. So yeah, Rocky's great. Don't know that I would have appreciated it as much if I had seen it as a kid. Cause you know, you're a kid, you just don't care about anything. You're like, yeah, whatever. Oh, but I did love Legend quite a lot. I mean, let's be real. Unicorns. There were some other things in there too, I guess. Like Tim Curry. Okay. Yeah, we're just gonna have to recoat. The color looks... I think it's gonna do better, or be stronger against itself after I get it over this primer. I'm reasonably sure that's what's happening here. On the bright side, as I get all this in, I am seeing even more spots that I managed to miss as far as my other base coats go, so it's not like I don't have to go back over it anyway. Come on. What about mission and action? It's the only way to clean your brushes. No, Jeremy, it's not. There's a perfectly good cup of water right here. Paint lickers. Yeah, weird. Alright, starting to find some pink in here. Everything had this very, very pale, like, just washed out, ghostly look. Just, you know, doesn't actually look human at all. That was going to be a problem. These ladies do need to at least look human. Alright. We're getting there. When did the Mission Impossible movies come out? Those were more than 90s, right? Because I ended up really enjoying those. Still enjoy those. I honestly think, like, they've all been quite good. Well, 3 was ridiculous, but, you know, they're all ridiculous, right? The way to fix broken Citadel paints is to add Vallejo matte medium and then stir with a big, thick wooden toothpick. Then put a big metal ball in the pot and shake it like the Macarenas. Like Macarenas. Yeah, there's something to be said for getting those shot BBs, I guess. When using the basic skin tone, I usually use bone color as the base first. Yeah, that probably would have worked. I was just doing this on the straight primer of the mini as it came out, so I would definitely say it's probably worth doing exactly as you say before you get your skin tone down the way you want. Because most people know how they want, like, especially that part of their mini to look. You know, if you're going for a specific either tan or ethnicity or whatever it is you're going for. So you probably want to make sure your base coat or your whatever you're priming that particular part in is just right, so you don't have any weird surprises that you're troubleshooting, or in my case, layering. But this is good paint. I'm not too worried about losing the detail. Honestly, the minis, like if you look at their faces, I might be able to show you. They've got sufficient detail in there. I'm not worried about losing detail from paint layering. Again, it's just a matter of making them look like they're living. I think that's looking reasonable though. Back over the arms. And then for me, I always have to end up cleaning up after I get the skin in there. Cleaning up like the other base coats, the green in this case, some of the brown, etc. But there you go. They finally look human. Yay! And the camera's on a little bright, so they probably look even lighter, but whatever. I don't know, mission in action. I don't know what you're talking about, Kitty. The first one with Jean Reno must have been the 90s. Before Tom Cruise went nuts. Yeah, I mean, he's just doing what Hollywood's doing. Beastmaster. Timaya Wooden Deck Tan. I don't think I have that one, Alfonso. Beastmaster is essentially a barbarian with creature control pet abilities who takes on chaos hordes at the end of the movie. It's so cool. TJ, thanks for hanging out, man. Have a good night. I preferred Beastmaster to E.T. E.T. was about a weirdo who didn't even have permission to enter the U.S. from outer space. Shock. There you go. E.T. was so cute. Oh my gosh, do you guys remember Mac and Me? That was the other weird one. Like, because there was that whole alien phenomenon where people were just going crazy about alien movies. Ah, good times. Clean up a little bit here, and then we will... Oh, I don't know. Should I do hair, or should I do... Oh, that's not the right color at all. Do hair, or should I do the gun and the weapons? Because that's going to be a lot of silver. That's going to definitely change. Change the look on the model significantly. There we go. Again, just cleaning up small details on the mini, specifically where like the fabric bunches around the skin. Although you know what I can do, you might get that shirt, because I have little shirts on underneath these jumpsuits, and that is in a very, sort of like this, I guess they're supposed to maybe be white tank tops, so we'll get that in there. Oh, I got that line so clean, yay, that feels good, there we go. Cool Guys Nation, hey, how you doing, Aaron? Has your hunter leveled up past me? I didn't play it all yesterday, and I'm unlikely to play tonight. Makes me sad. I've been needing sleep too badly, and everyone around me's been getting sick, so I'm not messing around with that, you know? Freaking season changes. Yeah, I think I want to do the hair. Let's do that. Metal's metal. We all know what metal looks like. I'm just being obsessive on the little back end. This jumpsuit, I don't know. I've been really enjoying this green. Probably too much. Okay, that is on there, that's on there. Yeah. Jeremy, these zombies suck. I've not played either. I got hit by a car, but I'm okay. What? You can't just say things like that, Aaron. You okay? What happened? Jesus, it's horrible. Chicago, I mean, those drivers are insane. Actually, I read recently, apparently New Mexico, my lovely state, apparently has the highest number of collisions with pedestrians. So, there's that. Missing in Action, Chuck Norris Vietnam movie. I haven't seen that one. E.T. freaked me out too. As a kid, I felt bad for the kids. What if E.T. turned on them and killed them? What if E.T. carried a disease? What if E.T. was a scout for an invasion force? These are all real. These are things you thought of as a kid? It's funny. I'm going to get this t-shirt on. Bleach sand. So this color ends up being a really nice off-white, because just pure black and pure white on a model is so high contrast and so jarring that like these off colors tend to have a more organic feel. And so you can sort of see that it's not a pure white, but it's light. And so we are going to get that on these ladies. Get their t-shirts on, their tank tops on, what have you. Yes, I realize I am painting this in the wrong order. It happens. Mostly I get excited to get like one particular color, one thing on, and then I'm like, oh, I should have done that. And whatever. Gotta go, Miranda, till next stream. Have a good night, Alfonso. Thanks for hanging out, man. Very cool. Appreciate you taking the time. There we go. I'll show you all in a second. Just want to get this other one on. A little too much there. That front one's alright though. Ah. Oh, I'll have to fix that then, I guess. Anyway, there you go. So now they got their little shirts on. It's probably a little hard to tell, but they're very light looking, but you can kind of see their shirts and, you know, their cleavage, because these are dust models. Oh gosh, Aaron. Second time I got rear-ended this year. First time I hurt so bad after 12 hours or so. Just means life is safer at Valhalla. Well, technically, yeah. You get to Valhalla, you don't have to go anywhere else. Alright, once again, I have to clean up this little mess here because I ended up getting a little bit of white on the green because I'm being so attentive. So we're just gonna touch that up. It's usually the majority of my time painting a model is spent touching up what I've done, because in order to get one bit of color on, I end up messing with another one, overdoing it, whatever. That is what I still struggle with. There we go. Yeah, Aaron, I hope you're feeling better. Don't get hit by cars anymore, okay? Makes me worry about you. It was actually a problem whenever I lived in Oklahoma for a few years. Like, man, people would seek me out almost. It was creepy. How often I was hit by cars. Now, this was in my car as well, but it's not great. Yay! Okay, now we can move on and do the hair color. Huzzah! Let's celebrate Wargamergirl. Oh, it is a great number. I hope that it only grows significantly. Oh, yeah, Paul, you were hit by a car too. Jeez. That was like a truck, wasn't it? It's dangerous out there, guys. Telecommute when you can. My commute every day is about 30 to 40 minutes. And we have a really high rate of drunk driving. Doesn't even matter the time of day. Like, it's a very huge problem in New Mexico. So, I'm a very paranoid driver. And I don't buy the whole driving defensively thing. I just drive sort of, for lack of a better term, aggressively. Like, I know where I'm going and I'm gonna go there and get the hell out of my, like, I will not let you get to live in my way, because those are the people who usually cause accidents. So. All right, and then we're touching this up. Oh my gosh. I think it's actually starting to look okay. And know when to stop. Yeah, we're gonna stop right there. 904. 2 models. They're gonna get their hair color on. Dang it. Hey, JR. Hello there, JR. I'm driving 7.5 hours first thing tomorrow morning to go see my daughter and do some work for my mom. Jeez, Jeremy, be careful, man. I look forward to us buying a house somewhere closer to my work. Yeah, that is rough. Yeah, so once I hit 40K Alluring, that will be amazing. I'll have to do like a giveaway or something. I actually have some good giveaways that should be coming up pretty soon, actually. All right, in honor of, I don't know, me being blonde, I guess, we're gonna get some blonde on this chicka. Start with thing 1 and thing 2 here. So first one's gonna be blonde, second one's going to be a redhead. And that one's more complicated, so I'm working up to it. So we're just gonna get that blondie blonde color on. So I'm using the color Hay. And then I'm just going to dry brush it with a antique white for the highlights. And that is basically how I do blonde. And since we do have a lot of depth in this model, we can have the brush somewhat wet for coverage purposes, because the point of the yellow is to be the low light in here. Get that on. Oh my gosh, that's right. I also saw a preview for the Charlie's Angels movie coming out, because I guess Elizabeth Banks is, I think, Charlie? Oh, sorry, I don't mean to stab the camera every time. that's another one of the yet bajillion remakes. Alright, let's be careful around her face. So that's her ear and not hair. That's the front. Okay, and it's a lot easier when we get around to the back of her head. Oh my gosh, sorry. Alright, well that's not bad. Anyway, how's everyone's hobby progress going tonight? Maybe aside from stories of being hit by vehicles. Making me worry about everybody. There we go. So, it's a very strong yellow yet, but it'll look better, as with real blonde hair, when you put highlights in. Should see Kitty's new sweater and the one she'll be wearing starting soon. Very October themed. I've been watching some of your knitting progress, Kitty. Hats off to you, girl. Like, that's some impressive work. Everybody's painting minis, but I'm traveling, so I'm knitting. Excellent. I'm worried because I have orders to Spain from UK online Warhammer vendors, and with Brexit I hope Spanish customs don't put import tax suddenly on November 1st. Man, that seems like it's kind of a mess over there on that. It looks so terrible, but I hate everything with Kristen Stewart in it. I liked her in The Runaways, but other than that, she sort of, I'm not a fan of her style. We'll just say that. She's 7 months behind on her minis. 7 months behind on her minis. But me? They knew that. I only have one story left to write, and then it's my weekend. Well, great. Are you having to actually like write from beginning to end, or have you already started it, Ilarian? Alright, so... Okay, that yellow is nice and evenly on, so now we're going to do the dry brush of the antique white, and that will give the appropriate highlights, and then we'll have one blonde chick, and then I can do the thing I've been stalling and a little bit scared of doing on camera and work on the red. Hobby progress. I finished 2 zombies in the first 30 minutes of the stream. It's taken me until this point to finish the 3rd. What are you going to wash that mini with? Thinking Null Oil. Just gonna do it. It's my favorite. It's the one I like. It's the one I'm comfortable with. There we go. Tried changing up my dry brushing technique slightly. I'm using just a softer brush, which I think actually was recommended by someone in a stream several weeks back, because I had a very hard brush I was using for a long time, and I don't think it was giving me quite the effect I really wanted. Whereas this does, and I don't have to like jack up the brush as much. So that's helpful. So there you go. Little light there, but overall, oh my goodness, it's looking appropriate. Have to get our faces in there pretty soon. Okay, yeah, as actually the hair colors on there, it'll look I'm feeling better about the skin tone being dark enough. Thank you. Terminator's already painted. Good job. I do about 10 stories a day to fill usually 4 sport pages, averaging around 4,000 words a day. But the last piece is a little brief, it's only 150 odd words. Okay, so it's sort of like an end cap, a little bit easier. American Ultra was weird. I don't. Bills, welcome back. How you doing? My Spanish understanding is not great. But yes, these are, I think, 32 millimeter scale. Okay. Oh, let's do this red. Okay. This is what we're gonna do. I've got two colors I picked out here. So a natural red isn't just like a strong full-on red. It's usually like a brown orange, some shade in there. You don't have like necessarily a burgundy, at least not naturally. So if I'm going for sort of a natural redhead color, pulled up some pictures of Julia Roberts before the stream, and I'm like, okay, she's got like an orangey brown, so we are going to try this. This is a burnt sienna Americana paint. This is going to be our base coat. And then I'm going to dry brush it with more of this orangey red Georgia clay. And we'll see how it looks. And if you have it, Seraphim Sepia is perfect for washing blonde. I do not have it. I don't have a bunch of washes. I have Null and Oil, which has always been my main one, and then Agrex Earthshade I got into more recently, and is also, yes, a very versatile one, but I feel a loyalty to my Null and Oil. Oh, let's do this. This is one of the newer colors. It's a very full bottle. Alright, so first we're starting off with the brownish red and getting that on there. I feel like I have to be more precise in my coverage here. Oh, found another spot that I missed for skin tone. Alright. I reckon that'll be perfect for red hair. I was about to say mix orange and brown, but you already had it nailed. Oh, thank you. We'll see if this theory pays off. But your confidence has become my confidence. I don't know if you guys use a lot of reference pictures, because whenever I look at, say, the base, what is it, the studio model, when you see or purchase minis, like, I don't understand a lot of the colors they're using, just to be quite frank about it. Like, there's so many shades, and that was one of the things that was a little bit demystified for me when Jason was on the Valhalla stream, because he was showing me. And, you know, their colors actually do this effect, so that's also another thing where it was something I don't do because my paints won't generally mix in such a way, but where, I don't know how to say it, it's almost like these glazed looks, maybe, of color, like a glaze over a metal in order to make it look more like a brushed nickel or something, like a brush color, I guess. And I had no idea how that worked until recently. And I'm still super intimidated to do that. But at least I have some idea of how it's done. Okay, that's too light on the top. dry. And then we'll give the dry brush a go, shall we? But I'm gonna be pretty thorough in my coating here. I want to make sure that it covers the primer. Been working on some historical minis, 10mm hittites, so many tiny little men, so many, 10mm, good night. That is not appealing, not yet. Historical has started to become appealing, but teeny tiny scale, I don't know yet. Alright, I'm having to just get that just so. Alright, I think, God, keeps feeling like the coverage isn't great on here. I mean, it's Americana paint, let's be real, but I digress. Oh, you're starting the Sister Amalia this week, huh, Paul? It's pretty awesome. I use box art less and less because they're being photoshopped. GW are particularly nefarious in faking how good some models look. Really? That's disappointing. You think that would be, I don't know, false advertising? But I guess you see that in all ways. Like if you've ever looked on, what is that website? Wish? Aaron, if you're still on, you can speak to it, right? Where you're like, that's amazing, looking for like $3. And you get it and you're like, oh, I got what I paid for. Alright, I'm probably being way too paranoid here on this burnt sienna, so we're just gonna let that simmer a second. I'll show you my progress. Ooh, 10 minutes left. I'm getting out of time. So, chicas don't have faces yet, but skin tone, check. Hair color, now check. They need the metal on there. Obviously, they need a wash, but they are coming along, actually. I'm feeling pretty good about this. In fact, while I wait for that burnt sienna color to, you know, just kind of solidify here, I'm going to touch up a little bit of the skin tone. Make sure to definitely mix that well enough. Paints can be so funny. I still definitely like the coverage of the Vallejo for a skin tone a lot better though. Alright. There's that. Anything else missing? A little thin on that arm. Probably do well to touch that up a bit. Since you have the paint out, I mean, you have to use like a whole dropper's worth anyway, so might as well get your money's worth out of it, I guess. I mean, that said, these paints last forever and a day, right? Okay, all right. Dust minis aren't 32mm, they look rather large. So, maybe. So here's like a Premieres, dude. Thank you, Paul. That's them compared to a Space Marine. So, I mean, yeah, they're pretty large, so I don't remember the scale. That part I'm not great on the memorization of. Okay, Georgia Clay. That's gonna be our highlight. And then we'll see if that red came out right. Bloop. I think that might be exactly as Alurian said, and just right. And don't get too happy with your dry brush, as I tend to want to. And that's the nice thing, the softer brush you can, I don't know, it's probably a little more forgiving. Oops. Alright, well heck, check this out guys. And ladies. Come on, get that color. So that's the highlight of the Georgia Clay over the burnt sienna, and there is some, you know, variety. So you can tell the highlights. There you go, blonde Betty, brunette, and like auburn. I do approve of that Space Marines job. Yes, thank you, Paul. That was a gift from him. Okay, well, we got skin tone on. We've got most of the base coating on. The only thing we're missing is metal. So let's get metal, guys. Primaris, railgun, army ladies. Exactly. Gotta run. Night, Robert. Thanks for coming in. Golden Demon's coming back. Is it not? Huh. Thank you, Lauren. I'm glad you followed me on Instagram. It's actually one of the better places to kind of post minis, I guess. Have you ever tried Conflict 47 from Warlord Games? It's weird World War II 28mm scale with great compatibility for other weird World War II games. Wish Dust was 28mm just for the walkers. There was a really great bolt action campaign at Valhalla this year, and Ruben and Ray and Tyler and everybody who participated did a wonderful job. Like, people seem to have had a great deal of fun. So yeah, I've looked at it. I've done demo games, although I didn't do one this year. Dan and I were supposed to have a rematch, and I don't know, timing was just weird the whole time. They were really busy with the actual campaign, though, so, I mean, of course I'm going to let them do their thing. So, oh my gosh, I have such great pictures from that event, too, because they'd been working on their tables all year, and those looked amazing, and bolt action stuff. That's where I get really interested in the historical minis. It feels like there's a true love of a proper terrain field and terrain, you know, appropriate terrain. Because now you're sort of trying to recreate something real, and turns out we live in a world with a lot of terrain. And, you know, coming from a game where people were constantly trying to play on parking lots or really hideous flat terrain, I super approved. So I look forward to sharing those images. And yeah, Warlord Games actually provided some prize support for it, so thank you to them for doing that. But yeah, people had a really good time, so I definitely have checked out Bolt Action. It's funny because I want to play both, and so I'm like, oh man, what armies do I play? Because I want them to be distinct, right? And one of them I'm probably going to play like the Russians, because, you know, they got a cool look going on for them. And one of them I really want to play the Americans, because, you know, turns out I'm a fan. And so, more than likely, my dust models, I'll be going all Spetsnaz Soviet with them. And then bolt action, I'll give the Americas a try. But the problem is time, as usual, and you know, it's a whole new rule set, and you've got to develop that group and that meta and all that stuff. Yes, I'm just basically blobbing this all over everything. Just so you know, big metal railgun. This thing's gotta weigh a ton. These chicks are strong. They don't have power armor or nothing. So. And these are the craft paint metallics, which honestly I've found to be quite good for this much of a model, because this particular gun is gigantic. I will probably need to give it a second coat because the coverage is starting to fail here. I'm usually using it in small applications, like the barrel of a gun, but here it's definitely quite a bit more significant in coverage, so it's kind of funny, actually. I don't think I've ever had to paint a gun this big. That was for a model this small anyway. There are those colossal guns, and they're pretty amazing. Or perhaps a Reaver Titan gun. That's also pretty significant. Oh hum. Although there you go. We're starting to see where this is going, right? Are you wet blending? I am not. I am painting out of the lid onto the model. Wet blending. You and your fancy painting. Black wash will also go over this gun. Probably not get re-highlighted. Because, you know, it's grimy. And everything in this world is sort of, you know, grimy. Like a lived-in world. Like what Star Wars used to look like. And then it's just a matter of getting coverage. This is just a time thing at this point. And, you know, there's enough details in here. Even if you keep the brush somewhat wet, the metallics don't necessarily move around as nicely. So you are kind of working, or at least in the case of this paint, I am working it into the model more. And it's easy to see what I haven't gotten because the primer is essentially orange, and so that obviously shows up with great contrast against, say, a metal color. A baseball bat. Paul, we need to play Worms again. That game is amazing. Although, I should probably go ahead and learn forts, too. So Paul and I will play on Steam. We'll play these, like, goofy little games where we're just mean to each other. Which is apparently just the goal of a game like Worms, WMD. And I found it quite fun. Super awkward, like, controls, but I guess I've kind of gotten over it at this point. And yes, I am basically blobbing this paint on. This gun has a lot of detail. I am not especially concerned about losing. Like, I don't think I'm going to lose it. Although that is a chunk of paint. Let's get that off of there. Gross. Maybe I can get it off of there. How funny. So yeah, no wet blending. Just trying to get full coverage onto the gun before. Oh, it's already 9:30. Dang. All right. Well, I guess I kind of need to end it here. So yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate everybody who hung out on the stream. Let me just address the comments real quick before I head out. And here's sort of where we got in 2 hours. I think that's a reasonable picture. Ta-da! Wow, the gun really like stands up crazy, doesn't it? I ask about the scale of the Dust games because I know that Atomic Mass Games will be making Destroyable Train for their Marvel Crisis Protocol game. Well, that's interesting. Huh. I know that guy takes hours to set up his Civil War scenery. He tries to have it match the actual battlefield. Yeah, and that's the thing about like historical players. I think that's what's so intimidating to a lot of people too. Go Russians, comrade. Hoorah! So I like the aesthetic a lot of it. I've read a fair bit of Russian history. It's terrifying. So, you know, definitely some hardy folks. How are you at wet blending? Probably terrible. I like 2D terrain for the convenience and storage and travel. But there's something so magical about playing on a well thought out 3D battlefield. And you're right. I mean, it's sort of, what's the application purpose, Kitty? And yeah, I get it, because the travel is an important factor. But man, it just doesn't have the same appeal. So, I actually went to a museum in Hawaii. Some dude made a full-blown Manila, Philippines table for their Pacific campaign. It was amazing. And those are the things that capture the imagination. And if you have something like that set up in a game store and somebody walks in, they're going to be interested in it. So. Recorded Gears of War. I guess those are the models you're painting. Maybe, Javier? Looks pretty good. Lady's still kind of pale, but it's coming together. Yeah, but the camera's also light on it. I'll see if I can get a better picture on Instagram for it. But so far, that's 2 hours. So obviously, the rest of the base coating has to happen. But after that, I just paint in some faces and wash, and we're good. So. Thank you all for hanging out. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys got some good hobbying done tonight. I know I did. And we will see you in a week. Bye.